Hey-ho? Yes, we've got some Ramones fans in today. That's good, because we're going to come back to that later. Just in case you're wondering, that one on the right isn't me, although I do acknowledge I've developed a very nice line in reverse mohawks these days. And I'd like to echo Lucy's thoughts about how great it is to see so many of you here. My job is, at this stage, very much to give a bit of context to the study and explain why commercial radio invested in a study about music and brands. And to start off with, I'd like you to take a trip through time with me, back to a year and a day ago yesterday. No, back to yesterday, a year ago, that's right, when we launched our last major research study, Audio Now. And I know that there's a lot of you in the audience today who were here then, but I hope you don't mind if I just pick out a few of the key headlines that emerged from that study. Number one, we learned through our ethnographic research, coupled with Radar's Midas Plus data, that how live radio and on-demand services play complementary roles for the listener, with on-demand services tending to take listening hours from people's personal music collections. As a result, we've seen an increase in overall commercial hours available, with the ad-funded subscribers to new music streaming services unlocking previously unavailable commercial hours. However, I should say within this that commercial radio remains the dominant medium within commercial audio, accounting for something like 90% of total hours. And in his analysis of audio, in the context of the long and the short of it, the seminal analysis of the IPA data bank that he conducted with Peter Field, Les Binet concluded that audio, alongside its widely acknowledged capabilities for driving tactical campaigns, also has all of the qualities required for strong brand building activity. Right, I see what I'm doing. I'm pressing the wrong button, sorry. I know I said I wanted you to take a trip back through time. I didn't mean quite in this way. So sorry, bear with me. Good, that was worth doing that practice, wasn't it? Obviously, I learned a lot from it. Right, yeah, here we go. So this is the one. So back to it. So the idea of alongside tactical abilities, audio also possesses the three main qualities required for effective brand building campaigns, all of which impress campaigners to ask the question, does radio deserve more ad spend? To which the answer was a resounding yes, hooray. But also this, I think, contains a bit of an issue really, which is maybe opinion in some respects is running ahead of behavior. Because commercial radio is in a pretty good place at the moment. We've got near record levels of audience, and in terms of ad revenue, we've had a really buoyant couple of years, but there's still a significant imbalance in terms of our share of overall audience, media audience, and our share of ad revenue. So I think it's also important to note that this can't just be pointed at an issue or concerns with effectiveness these days, because across the range of strategic research studies that we've run over the last few years, and coupled those with our suite of effectiveness tools, we've demonstrated time and time again that diverting media budgets into radio can increase overall campaign effectiveness at no additional cost. And in supporting this case, commercial radio, we believe, has amassed more effectiveness evidence available in the public arena than any other medium. So that led us on to hypothesize that maybe the issue isn't about effectiveness. Maybe the issue isn't even radio. Maybe it's just that in an age when digital media thinking dominates, visually driven culture, Adland is just unsure about the relevance of audio for advertiser strategies. So I hope you mind indulging me for a few minutes, actually, as we, through the wonders of desk research, I revisit some of the greatest hits of communicating with sound. And I'm going to start with a fact, a biological fact. You can't close your ears. Yeah, if you want to stop sound getting into your brain, you have to take excessive physical action, such as putting your fingers in your ears. And because most of us are consuming audio whilst we're doing something else as a secondary activity, we rarely tend to take such evasive action. The benefit of this is that pretty much all the audio ads that you're exposed to are processed by your brain, even if inattentively. The other benefit is that in an age when people are increasingly distracted by lots of other sort of opportunities to ways to spend their time, in the case of my wife, it's Facebook on her mobile phone. Audio is a great way of recalling people's attention back to other stuff, and that can include ads too. Have a look at this slide from a recent ThinkBox study. This shows that when people are multi-screening, audio is the best way of dragging their attention back to the TV screen. At least I think that's what visual upshifts mean. And I'd also highlight the importance of music within this context. So now I'd just like to jog on to talking a bit more about music. And music is a really interesting area. I got there in the end. Music is an interesting area. Across the years, there's been some really interesting studies which explore how music communicates. Judy and Mark Alpert's study in 1989 explored how music is particularly effective at engaging the subconscious brain. And Karl-Heinz Illner, a sound branding expert, took this one stage further, and he talks about how music, through engaging the emotions, even at a subconscious level, can influence our behavior and decisions. And I think the best example of this all coming together is what we in the commercial radio industry like to call the old Adrian North wine experiment. Poor old Hargreaves and McKendrick never really get a mention, so here's a quick shout out for them. I'm sure there's a lot of people familiar with this study in the room, but I'll just briefly recap how it works. So it was effectively a supermarket display, equal displays of French wine and German wine with related music playing in the background. And when the French music was playing, typically French music, an accordion, something like that, French wine outsold the German wine by 5 bottles to 1. And when the typically German or Papa music was playing, clearly back in 1997 there were fewer issues with national stereotypes, the German wine outsold the French wine by 2 bottles to 1. What was particularly interesting was when the researchers asked the shoppers, to what extent did the music influence your decision? Most of them replied, what music? The music had subconsciously influenced their purchase decision. They didn't even know it was playing. So clearly, from all of this evidence, music is very powerful at communicating with the subconscious brain, engaging the emotions, changing the way we interpret things, and even influencing our behavior. But how does it work specifically in an advertising context? Well, from the analysis that has been done so far in this field, most of it, admittedly, by Les Binet and Daniel Mullenseef, and hopefully I think both of them were due to be in the audience today. They may be here. If you are, hello, guys. We know that music in ads is great at drawing greater attention to the ads. It's brilliant at improving brand recall, message recall. It also influences people's intent to purchase and can have a direct effect on sales, or direct uplift effect on sales, of between 10 and 30%, which is all great. All pretty convincing stuff so far about the power of music. And it would seem that most brand managers in multinational companies would agree. From this study, a recent study by brand consultancy Sounds Like Branding, 97% of them agreed that music can strengthen a brand. So you might be sitting there saying, well, come on, Barber, what are you doing up here? There's no work to be done here. But there is, because this very same study showed that whilst 97% of them believe in the power of music, only 38% of them have a defined brand sound. Clearly, this inherent belief in the power of music for advertising isn't translating into action. So the first stage of our survey was really to find out a bit more about why this was happening, what was getting in the way, and to explain what we did and what we found out. Please welcome to the stage Steve Lacey from Push Research.